Welcome to Bigdaddie Sports, I'm your host, Bigdaddie.
Jenkins.
And we're back with you talking about the hot topics in sports, so let's jump right in.
Wait, before we start, you'll notice that I'm wearing a Julio Jones jersey. And if you've been watching the show, you know I hate Julio Jones. But I couldn't turn down a deal like this. Walmart was having this deal, if you bought a pack of gum, you get a free Julio Jones jersey. I couldn't turn it down. So, and it's laundry day, so on with the show.
Anyways, big news of the week. Peyton Manning signs with the Denver Broncos. What's your take on the deal?
He's a Bronco. This is what Elway wanted. Elway falsely. Oh, Tebow, you're our starter going into camp. Knowing every situation he wanted to get rid of Tebow. Manning, you took too long. I mean, you got the NFL in disorder. We got wide receiver Reggie Wayne. If Reggie Wayne knew he was signing with the Denver, Reggie Wayne would have went to Denver. You got quarterbacks.
How fast you want him to go, though? He had to research it, see what the situation was.
Let's go back. Pride catalyst. Indianapolis, you took too long to release this man. Let him know, so he can start. He can start his search early. Start talking to teams and go from there. You knew you were going to release him. You waited till the last minute to release him, so then he takes long. But you got quarterbacks being backups now because they scared they ain't gonna have a job. You got Miami without a quarterback.
That's a whole nother scenario. No, here's the facts. He chose the wrong situation. I don't care. He didn't want to go to San Fran because they weren't going to totally change the offense. You're an idiot. And see, this is where pride comes in. They have the best team of the teams that were selecting a quarterback. They were in the NFC Championship, and if not for 2 fumbles, they're in the Super Bowl. You go to that team with Randy Moss and Mario Manningham and Frank Gore and Vernon Davis.
And the defense.
All of a sudden, they might be the favorites to win the whole thing if he's healthy. The jury's still out on that. Then you turn down Tennessee, which again is a better situation than what you're in. And you got Kenny Britt, Nate Washington, Cook coming up at tight end, Chris Johnson, and a decent defense in an okay division, and you play the Colts twice. Again, better than Denver.
And a lifetime contract of $20 million a year.
That too. You pick Denver because you can do whatever the heck you want to in Denver, and you're basically the offensive coordinator. And while I understand you want total control, I don't know if the talent on that team is good enough to win the Super Bowl in the next 2 years. And when you look at the defense in the secondary is not great. The linebackers aren't great. Decker's okay. I mean, you caught 44 balls from Tebow. If you had a quarterback that can throw him a ball accurately, maybe. Demaryius Thomas, okay. They signed a couple tight ends, not household names, but I just don't see it coming together. But again, we saw Peyton Manning account for 8 wins in Indianapolis. From 10-6 to 2-14. The Denver Broncos last year, with a bad quarterback in my estimation, went 8-8. So we'll see. It's a weak division. I still don't know if the man's gonna be healthy. We can give him all this money and 5-year deals, coming off of 4 neck surgeries. The jury's still out.
Well, I mean, technically, he got 2 years guaranteed. The rest is all off the physical. So, I mean, if he's not healthy, they only technically wasted 2 years.
Well, it's a year. It's this year's guaranteed money. Then next year, if he passes the physical, he gets 2 years guaranteed off that physical. I don't know if he's gonna make it through the year, but we'll see. The biggest story coming out of this is Denver moves Tebow to the Jets. I'm starting on this one. First of all, Tebow should be grateful he's still in the NFL. I'm just gonna put that out there. Contrary to popular belief, I respect the dude off the field and all that. He's a bad quarterback. He's just a bad quarterback. And then you go to the Jets, and the Jets only signed you as a PR move because they get the back page with the Giants, and it looks good in their locker room. He doesn't fit in, and I'm sorry, it's bad when I'm saying the guy's not better than Mark Sanchez. That says a whole lot about where you are as a quarterback when you aren't even the equivalent of Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez is going to be looking over his shoulder, but because it's a popularity contest, because based on skill, Mark Sanchez is ahead of him in skill. Go ahead and talk about your boy. Go ahead.
Mark Sanchez, off of last year's numbers, were ahead of him in skill. Actually, Tebow's 20-yard plus was better with less attempts than Mark Sanchez. But
how many of them throws did he miss? How many times was Eric Decker wide open And he overthrew.
I said it's better than Mark Sanchez. I'm just saying it was better than Mark Sanchez.
Did Mark Sanchez have a deep threat? Did he? No. Exactly.
Look, Mark Sanchez, it is a popularity contest, especially in New York. Mark, you start off 1-3, something goes wrong there. Yeah, Tebow. The stadium's gonna be yelling, and you going in there, Rex, like, oh, Tebow, and his plan, and his surrounding plan is, we're basically gonna have two quarterbacks. Run a Wildcat that can throw a deep ball, so you have to respect that. And then you have Mark Sanchez in there.
Well, Tannenbaum said something, GM said something interesting on the radio. He said that if they bring Tebow in and the offense is sputtering, and Tebow gets a couple of first downs, they might leave him in there. That's a problem. This ain't college. You can't run a two-quarterback system in the NFL. You just can't do it. And then the bottom line is, you know what your offense is going to look like. You saw Denver. Santonio Holmes isn't going to be happy with this. Keller isn't going to be happy with this. And you're not going to score enough to beat Brady and the Patriots. It's just the facts. He doesn't make you better.
And your defense, Rex, is great. You got Tebow, PR move. He's there. Maybe he can be a leader on that team.
Please.
But you ain't fixed your defensive issues.
You can't lead if you're only playing part-time. You can't be a backup player talking about, I'm the leader of this team. It just can't happen.
He does what he said. He just did. Mark Sanchez starts stinking it up. Tebow comes in, the game starts winning.
Stick it up too.
As a traditional quarterback.
They don't have a quarterback.
Win-wise, the man wins. The man wins.
No. His teams win. They don't win those games in Denver without the defense keeping it close.
Well,
he's not a guy. He ain't Peyton. You can't put him on a bad team and he make a bad team good. He ain't that guy. There's always talent around him.
And there's a defense that is needed, like you said. Rex, address the defense. You're a big defensive guy.
They signed Landry from Washington. That's a big upgrade at safety. He's a solid safety. He's stupid, but when he got his head on right, he's a solid safety.
Okay, what about that means?
We still got to draft. You still have to draft. You draft the end. I'm just saying, the defense is going to be okay. They want to move Bart Scott because Bart Scott's best days are behind him. I don't think anybody's going to give him what they want in the trade, but I don't see Sanchez or Tebow being the savior. And Sanchez ought to thank Peyton Manning for that raise he just got, because he didn't earn that raise. He did not earn that raise. Next up, biggest story of the week. Saints get hit by Roger Goodell with the boom. Sean Payton gone for the year. Former defensive coordinator Greg Williams suspended indefinitely. GM suspended 8 games starting the beginning of the season. You go first. I got a lot to say about this.
Well, Sean Payton, that's $7.5 million. I honestly don't think it's more of there was bounties. I think it was the covering up and the lies.
Well,
you got to write letters. You write letters saying, "Oh, this is not going on on my team," and all that. That's the issue. I mean, there's incentives on the offensive side. Oh, if you get a 20-yard run, they got pots there. They got money pots there if you do this. Defensive. My biggest issue, if there's no flags being thrown, then how you say, oh, that hit was wrong? There's no flags being thrown on your refs. Your refs are calling plays. If it's a fair hit, even if you want, you stop this guy, you hit this guy. If it's a legal hit, it shouldn't be an issue. So my biggest thing is, I think the punishment comes from the lying and the covering up. You can't go to Goodell and lie to his face. You can't write letters and lie to his face. And then when your owner says, I've investigated this, and every time I get a little bit of evidence, you guys are saying this, this isn't going on in my organization. This is going to happen. And sorry, Goodell's going to make a statement. And coaches, y'all thought y'all covered? No, you're not covered. He's going to be as harsh on you as he is on the players.
Here we go. I have major issues with this, and here's my reason for major issues. While this was against the rules, what happened with Spygate? Spygate is way worse than this, to me. From the standpoint, that's literally cheating. This ain't cheating. This is breaking a contractual rule. But this is not cheating. Spygate, we got videotapes of signals so we know what you're calling. We're videotaping walkthroughs of a Super Bowl. We know it's been admitted, and all there was an organizational fine and a removal of a draft pick. And Belichick is the one who ordered it. He was not suspended or none of that. The organization was let up. So you gonna do that. And then with this, which is again a contractual issue, this is not cheating in a game. I'm going to suspend the coach for a year. I'm sorry. I got problems with that. There's no consistency. And I understand, they lied to me. Who cares? Cheating in the game is far worse than the bounty thing. And the other problem I have is the Saints are not the only team that did the bounties. They're the ones that's getting called on the carpet and being made the example of. You already said the Redskins have done it and are doing it. You've already called out other teams, but no other team is getting the sanctions that the Saints are getting. It's a joke. The whole thing is a joke, and it's not fair to the Saints.
And like I said, there was speculation, Washington. And you be like, yes, there's no hard evidence. Saints had hard evidence.
Same defensive coordinator. It's been admitted that he did it in Washington and Tennessee. Now, and see, that's the other thing. Jeff Fisher's going to say, I didn't know about this when I hired him, but he was running it under you in Tennessee. Stop it. So we're going to hold Sean Payton accountable, but Fisher's not accountable for what happened under his watch. This is a joke. This whole thing is a joke. I don't know why they use the Saints to do this. You know, I understand some punishment, but this is about the NFL being sued over negligence with head injuries. That's what this is about. And the fact of the matter is, it has nothing to do necessarily with how the game is being played, but the lies you were telling players. If you saw the interview with Jimmy Mann on ESPN, they were lying about what they knew about concussions. That has nothing to do with how the game is played. Admit that when a guy has a concussion, he doesn't need to go back in there. But we're trying to change how the game is being done now. And I'm sorry, what you're going to see is what we saw in the playoffs. They fined Harrison of Pittsburgh so much, and now he won't hit high. He hits low. And what did he do? He hit low, and he blew up Eric Decker's knee. You're going to keep seeing that because we're changing the hitting zone. You can't change football. Football is a violent sport. Doing this bounty thing is not going to change the violence of it. Changing the hitting zone is not. You can't make football not violent. Just admit that you made a mistake as an organization when you were lying about the strength of concussions and the long-term effects. But to try to change the game as a PR move is a joke, and all this is a PR move.
As well, besides all the trouble, you got Drew Brees, who hasn't signed his
that's a whole nother subject.
Franchise for the year. He is not going to stay there without Payton. He respects Payton. He's mad about what's happening right now. And don't tell me Miami ain't going to give a 1 and a 3 to go get Drew Brees, or any other team out there to go get Drew Brees. Drew Brees is probably going to order trade because he ain't going to sign it. He's going to be a holdout.
Here's the problem. He has to, if Miami was to even think about doing that, you got to have somebody from the throw to. They don't have skill position talent right now. But you bring up, he's not happy. He's not happy with the franchise tender because the last time he got franchised, he hurt his shoulder and his career was almost over, and there was no financial protection. So you understand where he's coming from. For the Saints to do that, and now you have to get a deal done before the season starts because you have no GM for the first 8 weeks. So you don't have a negotiator. This is a problem. It needs to be alleviated now. Sign a man to basically give him the Peyton Manning deal. Give him the 5 for 95. It's not like he hasn't earned it. He's been big in the community, and Lord knows he's been huge on the football field. And without Sean Payton, there's no way you can afford to lose your quarterback. So good luck, Saints, because the NFL basically screwed you next season. Next up, Alex Smith had to crawl back to San Francisco after they flirted with Peyton and after they couldn't get him and they wouldn't change his deal. They gave him the 3-year, basically $24 million deal, which allegedly has incentives that can take it up to $33 million. Here's my problem. There's a quarterback up in Seattle. Matter of fact, in his same division, who's played 2 games in the National Football League. 2 games. And he's going to get $8 million next year. Alex Smith won a playoff game for you. And he only makes $1 million more than Matt Flynn. There's a problem with the deal. There's a problem that Matt Flynn makes more than Joe Flacco right now. He possibly, because of incentives, could make more than Matt Schaub this year. I'm sorry. If I'm Alex Smith, I have major issues with my contract. And if I'm Joe Flacco, I'm beating down Ozzie Newsome's door for a new deal.
I think it's like it's recession time in the NFL. People don't want to pay. Because Matt Flynn got, what, a $10 million guaranteed over, not $10 or $9 million over 3 years. that ain't enough money. In Miami, you didn't go to Miami because they were offering less. Alex Smith didn't go to Miami because they offering less. So Miami don't want to pay for a quarterback.
Not for those quarterbacks. But the point is, if you Alex Smith, the Jets gave Sanchez an extension because they flirted with Peyton Manning. Y'all basically went on a couple dates with Peyton in front of Alex, and you couldn't get that man a little bit of a rate. Look, I'm sorry. In the quarterback system of the NFL, and with cats like Matt Castle making what he's making and haven't proven anything in this league, Alex Smith, based off of last year, in the quarterback market, the way it's constructed, is a $10 million football player.
I agree. And I think
I'm not saying Alex Smith is great. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying.
Year.
I'm saying based off quarterback market and what he's done, he deserves the 10.
Now,
if Flynn's getting 8, come on now, 2 games.
And my biggest issue is that if he had a bad year, he wouldn't have a job, or he would get this deal or get signed less. When your contract time comes, it goes off your last season. And off his last season, he deserves $10 million a year.
I'm just, look.
At least, what, 30, 40 million, 20 guaranteed, something.
Alex Smith right now making less than your boy Sam Bradford with the Rams. Come on. I'm not an Alex Smith guy. I'm just saying, per market value. We talked about this before. Joe Flacco market value is about $11 million a year. Based off the market. I'm not saying he's a franchise guy, but based off market, he should get $11 million.
And I could see if it was another team. If it was like, all right, Miami, we don't want to pay you because it was just 1 year. No, he returned to the same system, to the same coaches. And he should only get better.
And the things that hampered him last year was lack of wide receivers. Well, now you got 2.
Moss.
And if Moss is motivated,
Vernon Davis.
And we've been seeing what Manningham did in the Super Bowl, all of a sudden, even with Alex Smith, they should be a top 3 team in the NFC. You got them, you got Green Bay, and you got the Giants. Everybody else is chasing them. I think Philly's going to be on the up. They ain't in that class. Next up, NBA, your boy, Mr. Bipolar himself, Dwight Howard, decided to stay in Orlando. I'm just going to say this and I'm going to leave it alone. He'll ask for a trade this summer and all heck will break loose again. He got issues. He comes out and he says, oh, I'm too loyal. If you loyal, why wouldn't you sign the long-term extension?
Exactly.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
You say you loyal, get, 5, 7 years, spend time with Orlando. You basically saying you want to finish your career there. This is where you want to be. I want to bring a championship. I don't want to be like Shaq.
I hate to cut you off. How do you bring in talent around him if they've only guaranteed that he's going to be there for a year? Nobody's signing a long-term deal with Orlando if Dwight Howard's only guaranteed to be there for a year. You're handicapping yourself. It makes no sense whatsoever. If you want them to bring in talent, you have to say, I'm committed for the long haul, and then start recruiting people to Florida. And you can't do it when you're indecisive.
And let's be real. You saw this with Kobe. And Kobe had to get talked down, but Kobe had a long-term contract. Trade me. If you weren't happy, David Stern again won't like this. Players have power to be like, trade, or I ain't gonna play. You see their heart won't be in the game. You see all the stuff that will happen if you don't trade them. Sign a long-term deal. Sign it. Darren Williams is free. Darren Williams probably won't have a problem going to Orlando.
If the money right.
If Dwight's there. But what do you...
How you going to recruit him and Dwight's not guaranteed past next year? It's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. I don't know where Dwight's head's at, but they got him to punk out. I'm telling you, he's bipolar. It's an issue. I don't know what's going on. Next up, the Clippers are talking about firing Vinny Del Negro because effectively he has lost the locker room. You think Vinny deserved to be fired?
The win and lose, it must be something really personality driven in the locker room because they ain't like, y'all struggling in the team.
They struggling. They started off like gangbusters, and then now they've come back to earth. See, let me help you. Here's the problem with the Clippers. Tons of athletes, not necessarily tons of basketball players. In the sense of Blake Griffin will dunk on you. But in the clutch, I can't throw the ball in the post and say, Blake, go give me something. He's not that guy. And then DeAndre Jordan show up sometime, don't show up others. Caron Butler, I like him, but he ain't a franchise guy. You got CP3 when it breaks down. I'm trying to break down everybody to get you to cut and hope I can do something. I'm telling you this. They miss they miss Chauncey Billups.
Yes.
They miss Billups because Billups could get them into half-court offense, and he could play the 2 or the 1. He could be out there with CP3 or with Mo Williams, and he could get people in spots where they could do what they do. Not that Chris doesn't, but Chauncey got that veteran to him. Now, I've been there, that championship medal. Chris is still trying to get there. His team is young, and I think they're using Vinny as the scapegoat. You can't be mad at Vinny, like defensively, they're giving up a lot of points right now. Well, their guards are small. When they go up against teams, they don't got a guard over 6'3". That's a problem. I mean, they're not a great defensive team, and offensively, they don't run good in the half court.
Man, I honestly would have got Derek Fisher because Chauncey's gone. There is still that veteran leadership. I don't think he moves the floor like Chauncey.
Chauncey better. I ain't even know. Chauncey better than Derek when he helped.
But there's still that veteran leadership.
No, I get that. That locker room. Derek Fisher's going to do good things in the locker room for the Oklahoma City Thunder because he's been there and he's been over the hump and he's seen what it takes to do that. But in LA, I don't think the problem is Vinny Del Negro. All right, I got one more thing for y'all. I want to give a huge shout out to the Miami Heat for stepping up and making a political statement, taking the pictures with the hoodies today and sending that picture out and for the Trayvon Martin issue. Normally, athletes don't make political statements like that. It takes a lot because they take heat either way they go. If they don't say something, they take heat. If they do say something and you don't like the stance they take, it's a problem. They took a stance against what they feel is injustice, and I don't care which side you fall on the issue, I applaud them for taking the stance. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hit us up on Twitter at BIGDADDIEK6.
Light Bright J. LB Jenkins at Light Bright J.
Hope you enjoyed the show. Peace.